Don't waste your ammo. Bro.
Yeah, stop.
Let them come. Let them come.
Okay, let's go.
Daniel. Yeah, there. Oh, it went too hard.
Yeah, guys, no time to play here. We're gonna do what we have to do.
Where's John with the shotgun?
So I've been getting a lot of questions about what's exactly going on down here in South Africa. Currently, there are ongoing riots and looting across the country, particularly in the provinces of KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng, both areas with high Zulu populations. Other provinces are on alert as well. Retail stores and shopping malls are being targeted across these areas, with many places, such as this mall in Pietermaritzburg, being burned down. In addition to the usual themes looters take, such as TVs and the like, looters are also loading up on foodstuffs. It could be because they're just hungry, but it could be for other reasons as well. In a recent voice message I'd received from somebody on the ground dealing with looters further north, they're discovering cars loaded with food with license plates removed to avoid detection, and leaving the scene after looting and burning down the local supermarkets and such. He said whoever they pull over, they all say the same thing, apparently regardless of socioeconomic status. We're hungry. His speculation was that this was to tide them over with provisions while destroying local access to food for people in the surrounding areas as a way to increase social tensions, which seems plausible. What started all this was the imprisonment of Jacob Zuma, former president of South Africa, who was convicted on June 29, 2021 and sentenced to 15 months imprisonment for contempt of court. He turned himself in on July 7, 2021 and appealed his detention for health reasons on July 9th. This was denied and unrest started the night of Sunday, the 11th of July. To have a better idea of what's happening and why it's happening, it's important to know a bit about Zuma, who he was, and what he did. Jacob Zuma was born to a Zulu family in Natal, now KwaZulu-Natal, in 1942. He joined the ANC in 1959 and was also a member of the South African Communist Party from 1963 to 1990, even briefly serving on the party's Politburo. During the apartheid era, he was imprisoned for trying to overthrow the government and later exiled himself to avoid persecution by the National Party. He was instrumental in building the ANC's underground structure in Natal and became head of the ANC's Department of Intelligence. He has a reputation as an uneducated country bumpkin, which he's used to his advantage. While an uneducated man, he's certainly not stupid, evidenced by his track record in the ANC and his ability to play chess at a very high level. Simpleton aesthetics aside, he's ruthless when he needs to be and an able strategist. It's this bumbling front and his continually being underestimated by people supposedly more able than him that has been one of his biggest assets and proved to be the downfall of his adversaries. Jacob Zuma became deputy president to the ANC's Thabo Mbeki from 1999 to 2005. Mbeki, a Xhosa, had hoped that Zulu would be able to undermine the Inkatha Freedom Party in KwaZulu-Natal, headed by Zulu tribal leader Mangosuthu Buthelezi. Zuma was able to successfully leverage his Zulu tribal identity to undermine the Inkatha Freedom Party, IFP, and flip a majority of Zulu voters there to joining the ANC, thus capturing the province for the party. Not only did this decimate Inkatha's power in KwaZulu-Natal, but it suddenly gave Zuma enormous power and influence within the ANC itself, power he was able to wield as a weapon within the party. With his newfound influence, Zuma became president of the ANC in 2007 and rode on the goodwill the party had built up during the Mandela and Mbeki era to an easy victory in the 2009 general election. During his time in office, Zuma created a truly enormous patronage network. Connection to the ANC through direct employment and government tenders was seen as an easy way to live a comfortable life very quickly, with many, many people taking advantage. The profligate ANC, headed by Zuma, turned on all the taps to keep the wheels of patronage turning, degrading and endangering the financial integrity of the South African government, with the country being downgraded to junk status due to its year-on-year high deficits since the Great Recession till present day. The business climate declined, rolling blackouts became a feature of life in South Africa, and things generally degraded across the board. What was good for Zuma and company, though, wasn't necessarily good for the ANC electorally. While they maintained and still maintain strong support among blacks in the rural areas, their share of the vote in urban areas has been taking hard knocks, both by the center-left Democratic Alliance and the black nationalist/Leninist economic freedom fighters led by Julius Malema. Zuma wanted to appoint his ex-wife, Nkosazana Dlamini, to take over his position as leader of the ANC. This raised a lot of eyebrows, with the implications of such a potential successor being crystal clear. However, in December 2017, after much horse trading, probably hundreds of millions of rands exchanging hands, and by a very narrow margin, Jacob Zuma was removed as president of the ANC and replaced by Cyril Ramaphosa, not his ex-wife. Ramaphosa then became president of the country in February 2018. Ramaphosa is a Venda born in Soweto. Prior to taking leadership of the ANC and becoming president of South Africa, he was Zuma's deputy president, and before that, a labor leader who made good and became worth an estimated $450 million by 2018. His primary goal since attaining office has been to keep the various factions of the ANC unified. They roughly fall into three different camps: the looter faction, epitomized by Zuma, the ideologue faction, comprised of the hardliner communists and believers in the National Democratic Revolution, and I suspect a globalist neoliberal or neo-socialist faction led by Ramaphosa. The looters and ideologues are easy to understand, but I suspect what I call the globalists or neo-socialists and neoliberals are present as well, particularly given South Africa's government's total compliance and capitulation, and indeed enthusiasm for the lockdowns and the like during the COVID-19 pandemic. This is irrespective of the country's long-standing terrible economic conditions. What is pretty clear, though, is that Cyril Ramaphosa has been gradually but steadily trying to consolidate power within the ANC. Prior to Zuma's fall from grace, Cyril suspended ANC bigwig Ace Magashule as Secretary General of the ANC and removed him from his position as Premier of the Free State Province, a position he had held from 2009 to 2018. Magashule was arrested in 2020 and is awaiting trial for numerous corruption charges. This is after years of virtual non-intervention by the South African Prosecution Authority. Now Zuma is being sent away, essentially with a slap on the wrist, but it's a sign. It's a sign that that faction within the ANC is clearly under the gun by the Ramaphosa faction of the party. What South Africa is seeing right now, I believe at least in part, is the internal power struggles within the ANC made manifest and playing out on the streets. It's quite possible that the Zuma faction of cronies may be legitimately worried that their rice bowls are about to get smashed. So they're organizing these riots to put internal pressure on the ANC and maybe hoping to get Cyril Ramaphosa to the negotiating table. Through the destruction and making large chunks of the country essentially ungovernable, I think they're hoping to get some concessions from the ANC leadership. At least that's what it would seem. But it's not the only possibility, and it doesn't mean that Cyril Ramaphosa is a white hat in this situation. Political motivations aside, there's a lot of opportunistic looting taking place, of course. The South African economy is a wreck, and there are a lot of desperate people out there willing to capitalize on the current situation to get some loot. Just as one data point, the unemployment rate in South Africa currently sits around 32.6% officially, but it is likely higher than that when you include discouraged workers. Dire situation of many South Africans aside, there's no doubt, however, that the jailing of Zuma has sparked something in the country, or at least is being used as a pretext for some action. There is a third actor here which does bear mentioning: Julius Malema, leader of the EFF. As stated in the beginning of this video, a lot of the people pulled over and questioned about the looting are saying it ain't about Zuma. Despite the chaos, Malema's been very vocal about his support for the riots, looters, and adamantly against the deployment of the South African Defense Force to restore order in the country. Given his radical political positions, violent rhetoric, and suspect personal dealings, it's entirely possible that he may have a hand in what is going on, and at the very least is seeking to get some kind of benefit from the current situation. It's hard to know exactly why all this is happening or how it will turn out in the end, but if anything crazy in the interim happens, I'll be probably making another video. Thankfully, things are quiet here in the Western Cape, but to all my friends and viewers who are in South Africa, stay safe, stay vigilant, network with people you can trust, and Lord help those who have been victimized by the ongoing chaos. This has been Mr. Patriarch. Thanks for watching and making it to the end. If you're new here, please give this video a like or a comment if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more. It helps out with the algorithm. Also, I'd encourage you to share this video to people in your circles. It's important to know what's going on down here without a lot of sensationalism. If you want to support this channel directly above and beyond well wishes, please consider becoming a backer on Subscribestar. It'll be a big help to both me and my family. Special thanks to my backers Burnham's Ghost, Doomgoy, Count Elmsley, Carlisle's Bunghole, Symbols, Turnian, Folkron, and JNS77. You guys made reaching Goal 1 possible, and we're well on our way to Goal 2. Perks shall be forthcoming to all backers who help us get to Goal 2 at any level. I'm of course grateful for all my backers and viewers, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Patriarch out.